All right, well, it's about 5 after, so we're gonna get going, and I'm recording this just, I'll post it later if people couldn't join and want to find out what happened. But it's nice to see everybody's faces. I think everybody knows me, but if you don't, I'm Zinnia Willits, the executive director of SEMC, and actually next week will be my 1 year anniversary in this position, which is crazy because feels like it went like that. I mean, honestly, I'm sitting here with all of you. I kind of feel like I'm transported back to this time last year because it went so fast. But we managed to get a lot done and to continue to keep SEMC connected and moving forward. And so I just wanted to offer an opportunity this month. Instead of doing a formal program, which we'll get back to next month, but just to bring us all together and see if people had questions and give some updates on what's happening with SEMC. I know we put out a lot of communications in various platforms, but it's just kind of nice to see everybody's faces. So we're gonna do a couple of things today, just do some welcomes, and then we've got representatives of each of our affinity groups here to just give an update on what's happening. And then Michelle and I will give kind of an overview of what SEMC 2021 is looking like. But before we get started, there you are, Carla. I lost you in the Zoom boxes. You want to just? I have my right hand woman here. Carla and I are, the SEMC staff, and so just want to introduce yourself.
So hello, everybody. I'm Carla Phillips, and I'm the membership services and communications manager for SEMC. So I do everything membership related, take all of the questions, help people register, renew, all that stuff. And then I also do a lot of the social media, primarily on Instagram. And then whatever else Zinnia needs me to do.
Which day to day is, you just never know with SEMC.
Right.
But Carla and I are both. It'll be June 1st, I think, is your 1 year with SEMC. So both of us brand new over this last year, and we see each other sometimes when I'm in Atlanta, but we've done a lot of what we need to do remotely, and so it's worked out. And I'm just really thankful to have Carla here with us, and our membership numbers look good. People have stayed with us over this past year and are renewing and we're getting new members. So I'm thankful for all the efforts.
Yeah, today's the last day for our last membership drive. So it's 25% off for individual, institution, and academic memberships. So the last time I looked, I think we had about 15 people that took advantage of this week's. So today's the last day.
Okay, well, that's great news. Now I got to work on our industry partners. Heather Marie, nice to see you here. You want to?
Hi, everybody. I'm Heather Marie Wells. I am the digital media project manager at Crystal Bridges Museum of American Art in Bentonville, Arkansas, and I'm also your SEMC president. I was interim from this time last year until October, and then Matt and I officially took our roles on as president and vice president. And it has been a joy working with Zinnia and Carla, figuring out all this stuff, all the pivots. But I think we are all now old pros at pivoting.
We're trying.
I have both come to love and hate that word, as I'm sure all of you are as well. But I'm just glad you're all here today. It's great to see you all, even virtually. I have missed getting together in groups like this with my SEMC family. So I appreciate all of y'all taking some time today to just hang out, see what we're all up to.
Cool. Thank you, Heather Marie. And Matt Davis is here too. I think you want to say a word, Matt?
Just hello to everybody and good afternoon. It's great to see a lot of faces and a lot of folks I have not seen in a while. So hopefully we can move out of our floating Brady Bunch boxes sooner rather than later. and get back together in that sense. But I know a lot of y'all have been over the last few months getting reopened and kind of creeping back toward normalcy. And same in my museum. Those who don't know me, I'm director of historic museums at Georgia College in Milledgeville and run 3 historic sites for our institution. And we are at capacity every day with our COVID limits. Visitation is starting to come back very strong, and we're starting to get the event business back, and hope to see that as well. And really looking forward to seeing you either virtually or in person in Chattanooga. So
thanks, Matt. Now, Carla put together some SEMC trivia questions. So we're going to throw these out throughout the hour. And the only way to really, whoever gets the answer first in the chat box. So hopefully you all have access to the chat. And as we did in program committee meeting, the timestamps don't lie. So that's how we'll figure out who is in. I've got some prizes that I'll be sending the lucky winners of the trivia. So Carla, you want to ask your first question there?
Sure. Okay, so question number 1, trivia question number 1. What is the SEMC Twitter handle? What is the SEMC Twitter handle?
Katie Many got it.
I think it's cheating, though. I think
and she didn't have that hat.
Well,
okay, well, maybe we'll call that one a tie between the two.
It's fine. It's fine.
But we do have Twitter, and I don't do it. I drop in on Twitter sometimes more to see kind of. Twitter's a good place to go to see what the drama is in everywhere, from politics to museums to hot topics. But we do have SEMC does have a presence there, and we post. Katie Many actually does a lot of that for us. So thank you very much. Okay, so Josh and or Alyssa, how about an update on our Emerging Museum Professionals group?
Sure, absolutely. Do you want me to explain the group as well, or do you want us to talk about that and as well?
Yeah,
as
I think just what it is and how you guys function right now and what we can look forward to with EMPs.
Sure. So my name is Joshua Whitfield. I am one of the co-chairs of the SEMC Emerging Museum Professionals Group. I am here with my other co-chair, Alyssa Jones. Alyssa, are you on chat?
Yep. Hi, I'm Alyssa Jones. I'm the other co-chair for the EMPs.
So we are the co-chairs of the SEMC EMP Affinity Group. We are a group that's been around since 2011. We are here to represent people who are new to the museum field, give them a better roadmap for career development and networking, and just advocate as well for new museum professionals in the field. Just for anyone who's curious, if you are curious about joining the EMP group, odds are you're already in it. We're a very big umbrella of a group. We represent people who are museum staff and employees that have been in the field for 10 years or less. We use that term very loosely. So if you're a grad student who's been working at a museum, if you're an intern, we take everybody. There's no age limit. Anyone can be in the group. You can be, we have members from age of 20 to, I'm sure, 80, 90 who just got into the museum field. We represent everyone and anyone who is in that category. So as the co-chairs for EMP, there's a lot of things that we try to do for the group. We do a lot of communication efforts. We do a lot of social networking. We have a very active Facebook page right now. And on that Facebook page, we post quite a bit of information. We post primarily job postings. We work really hard to make sure that EMPs see what's out there, see what's coming down the pipeline. Right now, there are a lot of job postings coming out now that museums have been opening up under COVID. Definitely check it out. We try to post jobs that have salaries. I personally am a big proponent of salary transparency, but just take a look and see what we have on the Facebook page. We're talking about getting an Instagram, so that is going to be fun. And honestly, I think we might try to do something where we allow guest posters to brag about their own museum every once in a while, take over the Instagram. So we'll see how that goes. Another thing that we do is we advocate and represent EMPs to both to SEMC as an organization and to institutional museums who are members of SEMC or are just in the Southeastern region. So we try to stay tuned in with SEMC leadership and with other museum and regional and state leaders, just to try to highlight things that are mutual concerns for a lot of EMPs and propose strategies for how to mitigate some of that. So right now we are looking at a number of things for this upcoming conference. We have 2 sessions that are coming down the pipeline that I'm really excited to talk about a little bit. One is the EMP Roundtable. This is something that we've been doing for several years, technically 5 years, although last year was canceled in its conference form. So this year's is going to be about moving on from everything that's happened over the past year. It's called Picking Up the Pieces. I'm going to be on that panel as a moderator, but we have some really great people coming out for that. So definitely check that out. We have another EMP panel as well that I think many people who are EMPs would be excited to join. That's going to be writing for the job you want, resume tips and tricks. I'm also going to be on that one, but as a participant. That's going to be a really fun one. Katie Erickson is going to be moderating that panel, I believe. So we're really excited about that. We also do group meetups for SEMC. Now, the meetup for this year is still TBD. Usually we get a group of people together, a large group of people, and we meet and we network at a local establishment at our host city for the year. We'll get some more information to you about that later. So honestly, if you're not a part of the EMP Affinity Group and you're interested in joining, I really recommend getting involved, getting hooked in, tuned in. There's a lot of things that you can do for the Affinity Group. Honestly, some of the best things you can do is just communicate. Just use the platforms that we give to advocate, to share job postings, to share museum news, see what's out there in the world today. Attend EMP events, network with each other. Definitely support each other and offer advice and insight, and just pay it forward. You know, I mean, EMPs often are a really important part of making other EMPs. So as we try to advocate for you, definitely try to advocate for the new generation coming along. I think that pretty much covers it. We are currently in a transition phase. We just, Alyssa and I just joined the EMP Affinity Group as co-chairs, and we're very grateful to have an active group from Callie and Katie. So we're really excited.
Thanks, Josh. And Alyssa, you're pretty plugged into that national EMP group?
Yes.
You want to just talk?
Yeah, so the National EMP Group is also undergoing a lot of changes. They've started to use a new social media network called Mighty Networks. And so they'll just have everything there for their EMPs in that app or website. And so it's split into either state or city chapters, and they have regional directors and international directors. And so they're really trying something new. They really want to have a closer knit community, I think. And so they have different committees on community building, networking, events. So we'll be posting more about what they're doing too. So look out for a lot of events that are happening. They do grant writing, all sorts of things you need to know for just starting out, or just a recap if you've been in the field for a while.
Thanks, Alyssa. And in case anybody's interested how the Emerging Museum Professionals Group came about, James Quint actually wrote an article that's going to be published in the forthcoming edition of Inside SEMC, which should be out in the next, hopefully, week or so. But I tried to find pictures from the early days of JJ and the EMPs they were all very blurry for probably good reason, but so I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but this is one of our strongest affinity groups, and I appreciate the work that everybody continues to do to bring new people in. So whenever new members come, Carla and I try and point them. We're trying to do a better job with our initial communications and what goes out to pointing people to these various affinity groups. So thank you for that.
Oh, I forgot to mention, if you're going to the conference, or definitely, I think on the registration tab, you can actually select any of these affinity groups, I think, on your registration, and that will help Zinnia and SEMC keep track of some of that, I think. Is that right, Zinnia?
It is. We're still trying to get a handle on the most efficient way to gauge people's interest and route them there. But yeah, we're in motion. So right now it's still kind of word of mouth. There's a little blurb about it on the website, but we're getting better with that communication. So thank you both. Carla, what's our next trivia question?
All right, the next trivia question is, the C in SEMC stands for conference. What other word does SEMC often say the C stands for?
Patrick got it. Community, exactly. That means that you've attended one of our programs where I start off with talking about that. So thank you all. But I do, we have, just as an aside, Southeastern Museums Conference. It's a little confusing because sometimes we say, oh, are you going to attend the Southeastern Museums Conference? But we've tried as a council over the years to tackle the name. Heather Marie, you probably remember this, and it didn't really go anywhere. So for the time being, we will remain the Southeastern Museums Conference, but it really is about community and collaboration and all the other C's out there. So, okay, let's hear next from our mid-career group. So Scott or Amy or both.
I'm on my phone, Scott, so I can't see where you are, but I know you're there because I saw you earlier. So Scott Warren and I, Amy Beisel, are newly in charge of the Southeastern Museum's mid-career professionals group. We're more casual than the EMPs. And Scott and I are still kind of getting our legs underneath us with this group, but I've been trying to help manage the Facebook page and slowly getting into that. And so, we exist to bring the mid-career professionals together, keep everybody aware of opportunities that are coming up for either training or professional opportunities in the field, and give everyone a network to touch base with each other should we need each other's support. And that's what I gather from it right now. I love to have the time to offer more, but really we just want to be that group to support each other mid-career and help move each other on to the next opportunities. So we're here for the connections, really, and the support. If you can join our Facebook page, that would be wonderful. It's SEMC Mid-Career Professionals if you're looking for it. And again, just like the EMPs, we don't have any restrictions on joining. If you think you're moving into that group, we're usually about at the 10-year mark is when we consider mid-career, from about the 10 to 15 or 20. But if you feel like you are mid-career, we are going to welcome you anyway. You can join us. So that's where we are with that. Scott was going to talk a little bit about what's going to be happening at the conference with the mid-career group. So I will turn it over to him.
Thanks, Amy.
Yeah, thanks, Amy, and good afternoon, everyone. Just real brief group. You know, we are scouting out a place to have a mid-career meetup. I was fortunate enough to have gone to Chattanooga for mid-year meeting, and we were also fortunate to scout out some really nice places, some places I think we could gather and network and have those meaningful conversations. And once we land on that, we will surely post that on our Facebook page for mid-career, and we encourage everyone to come out, you know, meet your fellow mid-career folks. And as Amy said, you know, even if you are not within that 10 to whatever range, you know, you're more than welcome to come out and join us and network with us, and just get to know the group. So looking forward to seeing everyone in Chattanooga in October.
I'm actually more worried about when you move out of mid-career and become the seasoned.
Oh, no, that'll never happen. No.
Well, and I know that there's some from the EMPs that don't ever want to not be an EMP. But so the mid-careers though, and you know, they started, Matt and I kind of started doing these sessions back in, was Knoxville, I think was the first time we ran a session just about, you know, you're about 10 years in working in a museum and you kind of maybe hit a wall, or it's what's next. It's definitely a challenging time. So it's a great support network, and there will be some sessions. Michelle and I'll talk a little bit about that later at the annual meeting. Same for emerging museum professionals that are devoted to those at the mid-career. So thank you both for taking that on. Carla, what do we got next?
Next question. What Atlanta museum is home to the SEMC offices? What Atlanta? Oh.
Atlanta History.
Okay,
That's correct.
Matt, I think as a council member, you can't. Matt and Heather Marie, I think we should have recused you. So we'll give that one to Josh, I think. But yes, that is correct. For those who are unaware of this relationship, the SEMC offices are sort of embedded in the Atlanta History Center. This is a professional relationship that's been going on for about 10 years. So Carla and I are technically employees of the Atlanta History Center. And so we, SEMC has a professional services fee that is given to the History Center each year as a contract. And as part of that, all of our payroll, they handle all of that kind of administrative oversight for us, as well as working with us on the monthly financials and the council reports. So it's been, I saw Kristen on here earlier. There you are. Yeah, Kristen remembers the early days of that relationship, but it's been really beneficial, I think. We are unique in being a regional organization that has this type of an arrangement with another institution. You'll hear about some regional organizations that they may just have office space within another building, but this is a true professional services kind of merging, and it's been it's great oversight for our organization in terms of just organizational structure and different checks and balances. And so we are happy to continue that relationship. I have an office there, and as does Carla, for those that don't know, but I live in Charleston. I think everybody knows that. So I go back and forth to Atlanta every few weeks to be and work in the office. It gives me a little bit of a sense of place as well. So still working out. Let's see. Where are we? We are now with Katie. Can we do the Equity Inclusion Action Team Affinity Group?
Sure. Sure. So I'm Katie Meny. I'm one of the 4 people who took over the this particular team, and all 4 of us started, I guess, with the new calendar year. So we're all pretty new and getting our own footing as well. But we set meetings every other month, and we host them on Zoom right now, and they're at 2 p.m. on the second Thursday. However, we realized that this is now conflicting with the Museum Learning Hub, so we're sending a chat between the four of us to see when we should adjust that too. But basically we are everything DEAI. So anything that you want to discuss, talk about, ask questions, bounce things off of other people, we are here to support that. We use Basecamp, which is an online platform that is kind of like a messaging board, and we're discussing if we want to keep that or if we want to switch to something else, to a different, perhaps more user-friendly platform. We've got 4 working groups that you can be a part of, one or all of them, and it's emergency advisory, mentoring, survey, and then like a general DEAI consultation. And so if you want to get involved, we do have our own website that is linked on the SEMC page. We don't have our own social media, but you may see posts on the main SEMC pages and profiles that are talking about upcoming meetings or webinars, articles, anything like that. So we thought that we could just piggyback off of what Zinnia and Carla are already doing instead of trying to start from scratch. Josh is also on this call. He's one of the 4. We also have Kate and Cassandra. And Kate is actually in Atlanta. There's 4 of us that are all happy to answer questions, either on the Facebook page or through emails.
And Katie, how do people join through?
And we do host. Oh, just how? Send us an email. So there's a general DEAI Gmail account. We all have individual Gmail accounts too. So hopefully when people shift out of positions, there'll be no gap there. So you can send us an email. So we lost power in the middle of this, so I'm on my cell phone, but I will get it dropped into the chat or have an email sent out with how you join. So you just send us an email and say, hey, I'm interested in joining, and you get added to the Basecamp. And then Basecamp will send out automated emails if anything is dropped in there. We can, or you can ask on social media to send us a message on there, or SEMC, whomever you want to reach out to, but we'll get you added. We do have a session every year at the conference. And so I think we talked about it being one of the virtual components of the conference, was that we were going to meet and discuss how the working groups went for this previous year and set what groups we're going to do in the following year. So if you have ideas, if you have things you'd like to see, we'd love to hear from you. We're also trying to incorporate like small guest speakers. If you have something cool that you're doing at your institution that you want to share that's DEAI related, then you could kind of give us like a, hey, here's what we're doing. Here's an idea that's working for us, and share it out with our group.
Thanks, Katie. And just so everybody knows, there are links to all of the affinity groups. If you go to SEMC's web page, there's right on the home page, I think actually there's a landing for go to affinity groups. And so that will actually point you in the direction of the EAIT web page, because they do have their own web page, and you can also join, I think, through that portal. And then one update just about the EAIT meeting that's going to be in Chattanooga. We're going to do that particular meeting as hybrid. So those who are in Chattanooga, it'll be sort of like program committee. It'll be a very interactive discussion because, we feel like that's a pretty important group to get together to have as many people as we can in that conversation at the annual meeting. So stay tuned for details on that. And thank you, Katie, for doing that. And before we move on, I just want to say, Katie mentioned the Museum Learning Hub. For those who haven't heard of this yet, This is a collaborative project that SEMC is working on with the other 5 regional museum organizations. It is an IMLS grant funded project. It's a national leadership grant. And basically what we've done is created a website and then now weekly trainings offering free technology, technical training to museums. It's all free. It's all geared towards small to medium-sized museums, professionals that might not have gigantic budgets to learn how to do things like virtual programming. This next month in May is going to be about live streaming. We just finished an entire month of digital accessibility and inclusion. So I'll put the link to that website in the chat, but the idea is the sessions run live and then they're going to live on this website for, the next year or so. So you can go back and rewatch, and the digital accessibility and inclusion was really good. I mean, I picked up so much, just in terms of small things that we can all be doing to our websites, to our social media posts, to everything that we're doing virtually. So sort of digress there. All right, Carla, how about what you got next for us?
Next question. What timely image is featured throughout the most recent copy of the SEMC annual report? So this is for all of you who actually read it.
So I see nothing in the chat.
Crickets.
We do an annual report every year. It usually comes out in January. I won't tell you where, although it's come out now multiple times. This time it came out in March. Nice try. Oh, Heather Nowak. Yay. You got it. That's right. If you go to
Katie did it. Katie posted that before Heather too, with a question mark.
Oh, Katie. Okay. Well, maybe we'll share that one.
Heather can have it. I was not certain. She was willing to commit.
So if you go to SEMC's, it's right there on the homepage, but the 2020 annual report is there. And Nathan Melman, who is with Goose Pen Press, has been doing our design for our publications and our annual report for many years. And this year he used the mask theme throughout. It's just a moment in time, and that annual report is now part of our organizational record. And if you do have time to go back and look through it, it's a nice overview of everything that we were able to accomplish over this past year, which was pretty challenging for everybody. So that's a good question, Carla. So I'm gonna turn it over to Michelle Schulte now, we can do this together, but you're really on the front lines for program committee for SEMC 2021.
Well, thank you. That's flattering. Yeah, my name is Michelle Schulte. I'm the gallery director and curator at the Anna Lumar Switzer Center for Visual Arts at Pensacola State College in Florida. And so I think Deb and I are the two Floridians here on this call as she's here. But hello from sunny Florida. You can see the sun coming in from my window. And so, but anyway, we did have our mid-year meeting as scheduled. It was a hybrid, of course. We had about half of our program committee in Chattanooga and half were online, and it worked out really well. And we were able to choose about 60 sessions at that time. And as Zinni has mentioned a number of times before, of course, the conference in October is going to be hybrid. And so we chose a selection of sessions that will just be presented online, and then some that will be presented in person. And so it's a really nice blend. Unlike previous years, we're not going to have as many sessions available. And I say that, and I don't want to scare anybody, because we were very selective in the topics that we're going to present. And so there's a lot of information and a lot of really great quality sessions that we're going to still be able to have. And so I don't want anybody to think that it's going to be a lesser conference. It's just going to be a different type of conference. And so that's one point that I really wanted to make. And so at this point, we're just working on getting some of the final information in from the presenters, you know, confirming all of their speakers and getting their correct titles done, and sort of, you know, tweaking a few things here and there. And in the background, we're actually still working on getting a few more sessions added that weren't necessarily proposed during the program meeting. And those are topics that we really feel strongly that should be touched on. You know, for instance, this morning I was working with somebody about 2 sessions on universal design in museums and working with people with disabilities physically within spaces. And so we're still working on that, but everything's rolling around, going along smoothly at this point, and we're still on target to get all of our information out this summer. I also wanted to say that this year we had Sarah really stepped up, and we had a lot of collection proposals, and that was really wonderful. So Deb's smiling because usually it's like education and collections, and so but this year the collections won. We had more collection proposals, and they're really fabulous information that will actually go beyond just collections individuals. I think that a lot of the information that we're going to present these different sessions will really touch, will really be helpful for curators and educators and directors and administrators as well. We are still going to have evening events, and I'll let Zinnia talk about that in a second, because that was something that, you know, I was even concerned about having the evening events on the in-person side. Plus also I wanted to say that the space is actually really beautiful in Chattanooga. The city is impressive. The area where we're at is, it's very nice. It's a walkable area. There's lots of restaurants. There's lots of things to do. It's not sort of out in the middle of nowhere. The convention center is huge. You can literally drag race 4 cars down the atrium, I think, at one time if you really wanted to. And so there'll be plenty of space for social distancing. There'll be plenty of space for people to feel comfortable. Vendor space is gorgeous and beautiful. And so I wanted to, you know, just give some props to Chattanooga. They really, it's a really beautiful space, and it's a really nice convention center for us. And the hotel that's attached, it's literally right there. And the city itself is really wonderful. I was very impressed with it. But maybe, Zinnia, do you want to talk a little bit about some of the evening events and how we're going to make accommodations for those?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a moving target, but we are working through it. I had a really good meeting yesterday with Chattanooga local arrangements. And just so everybody knows, right now in the month of May, I'm working on the corporate guide, which will be all the sponsorship opportunities for our industry partners. So if you get any questions from vendors that you work with about SEMC and the annual meeting, just point them to me. There's just a lot of things in motion at once, and the preliminary program is in development right now. So as Michelle said, we're getting all of the session information, blurbs. It's going to look the same as it always has at this point in the conference. The only caveat is this year it's much more of a living document. So things will be changing as we get closer to the annual meeting. But in terms of evening events and the things that you're used to, we are working on pre-conference tours, some really cool things related to Chattanooga. There's an area called Sculpture Fields, there's Ruby Falls, and obviously people can do these things on their own, but we are going to provide opportunities to do them as a group. I'm still working through what transportation looks like, but obviously bus companies have their own protocols in terms of being able to space people out. We are working with the Convention and Visitors Bureau. One of the Sunday pre-conference tours will be related to, it's sort of a public art and history tour going through different areas of Chattanooga and different neighborhoods and how they've developed. So there's much more of a focus. And this came after Charleston, and we were working on it for Louisville in terms of highlighting different culturally specific areas of the cities that we're going to, so that people coming to visit Chattanooga have a much better sense of the city. We are working for the walking tours on a history tour. We're actually looking at doing a bike tour instead of an additional walking tour. So if you're an early riser and you want to get out and see this, because I know there's so many early risers in this group. But if you want to have a history little bit of Chattanooga on bike, that will be Tuesday morning. And then Kristen asked about the fun run. Yep, we're going to do that again. We're already scoping that out. Those of us who were in Chattanooga and walked from the convention center to down by the waterfront, I mean, it'll be a super easy run. So you've got some great spaces to do that. The evening events that we're looking at right now, the Hunter Museum of American Art is really one of the big anchor museums in Chattanooga. So that's going to be one of the evening events. They have an amazing, I'm sure you've seen the pictures. I mean, I post them all over the place, but a beautiful outdoor space. In addition to a gorgeous museum, the idea behind the evening events is that they will be mostly outside. So the group gathering part of it, in terms of some light bites and a bar, will be in outdoor spaces. And then attendees will be able to go inside of the venues using whatever guidelines those venues have in place. And you know, capacity limitations are going to be something that we are going to have to wrestle with a little bit this year at the annual meeting for the on-site, but I think it's going to be okay. It's just, people will just have to have patience in terms of how this rolls out. We're looking at doing the Sunday evening kickoff event at the Bessie Smith Cultural Center, which is literally a block from the Chattanooga Convention Center. This is focused on African American history in Chattanooga, and it has a great, I mean, they do events there anyway, but they have a really beautiful outdoor space to just kind of kick off the conference. We're also working with the aquarium. You know, it's when you're on the local arrangement side of things, everybody wants to participate, but there's only so many venues that can actually host a larger group. So you're always kind of looking towards the larger institutions, and the aquarium would like to be a part of it. In that same square, there's also the Medal of Honor Museum. So that's another one where the reception area will be outside, but then there will be opportunities to go inside these venues. You know, we're looking at how to move people around safely, following the local protocols and guidelines. By October, I'm not sure what that looks like, but you know, SEMC is going to do what we can to make people feel safe and comfortable, and that's likely going to mean requiring masks when you're indoors in sessions at the convention center, where there are capacity limits on the session rooms so that we can space out the seating when you're there. So there will be some differences running a hybrid annual meeting, and I don't know where I can't see Matt on there, but the Georgia Association of Museums just did this last week. Had both in-person and sessions running on Zoom, and it was, you know, it's the way it is right now, and it really does work. So I feel good about that. I was just going to say something else about the virtual component of it. So I've been talking a lot about the in-person experience. The virtual conference, there will be about 20 sessions that will be offered. That's less than we did last, you know, over the course of last fall, but at the same time, this is where the hybrid comes in. We're not putting all our eggs in either basket. So, however, there's going to be really quality sessions on both sides. If you are in Chattanooga, and you will have access to all of the virtual sessions, we're not running them concurrently with in-person sessions. So if you're at the convention center, we're going to have watch rooms where you can be spread apart, but with a group of people watching the virtual sessions, and there will be someone logged in so they can pose your questions. So in person, we'll have access to all of the virtual sessions. And if you are virtual, we're also going to live stream probably 5 or so of the sessions. I'm still working through some of the cost of this. We'll definitely be live streaming the keynote and business meeting, and then choosing a few other sessions. So if you're virtual, you can log in and actually see what's happening there in the convention center. we're using a platform called FeedLoop. That's where all of, I mean, it'll be on, the sessions will be on Zoom, but it will be run through a full conference platform. So if you are a virtual attendee this year, you will also have access to, you know, that kind of lobby feature where you can interact with other attendees. And then there will be a virtual expo. So the vendors, again, offering them options as well. So they can be on site with a booth, they can have a presence in the virtual expo, they can do both. You know, we're trying to provide as many options as we can to members to attend whatever is going to meet their budget. I'm working through the registration costs right now. I will tell you that the fees will be much less than you're used to seeing for an SEMC annual meeting. We're trying to keep things affordable in this year and still be able to cover our costs. There will be scholarship opportunities that will roll out when we open registration. And I'm also looking at doing a reduced registration rate for those who have, you know, perhaps still out of work or been furloughed this last year. So that's a lot of talking for me. What questions we have about 10 minutes left. I would love to hear any questions from this group about what we're planning. It all sounds great. Does it sound okay? Yeah. It's a lot to conquer, but I feel confident about it. I mean, Michelle, do you have any thoughts? We've gone through many
you know,
ups and downs with it.
I'll tell you the truth. I don't like change. So, you know, I'm a real stubborn person when it comes to change. And so I was even a little skeptical about how this might roll out. And again, we've had change and it came so fast and so quick, and we've all been having to adapt in every area, not just in our professional lives, but in our personal lives as well. And so by going through the process of having the program committee meeting, seeing the technology, seeing the space, talking it through, I'm confident that it's going to be a really great conference. I think that we're going to pull it off. SEMC pulled it off last fall when we had to cancel our conference, and we came up with an alternative method of getting content out to everybody in the form of those cohorts. And so I know that SEMC is going to be able to give us something fabulous again in the fall this year. And again, it'll just be different. And I'm kind of excited to see what the product will be.
And we really are trying very hard to balance the program so that the topics that are being offered virtually are also being offered on site, so that there's the same, we're hitting the same subjects just in different ways. And that included asking some of the on-site presenters to do a virtual presentation, which was kind of a hard sell, but
and the other thing that that this hybrid format's going to give us the opportunity to do is have speakers that we wouldn't normally have physically come to SEMC anyway. And so we have at least one speaker that's overseas. I was working on a session this morning, and we might have a speaker who's in Wisconsin, who's an occupational therapist in Wisconsin. You know, clearly she wasn't going to come down for the for the conference in Chattanooga, but she can still now participate and talk about some of her research that she's been doing on museums. And so it does give us opportunities to expand our educational offerings in that way. And so that's really exciting as well. So I'm looking forward to it. I might be a little biased, but I think it's going to be a really fabulous conference, and it's a great location. Chattanooga, again, is a really nice place. And so I'm very happy to be involved with it.
Well, I was just going to say, and Xenia kind of alluded to this a little while ago, that the Georgia Association of Museums has done a hybrid conference this last Sunday through Wednesday. And we found out we were the first museum professional group in the nation to do something since COVID hit. And ours was very much a micro version of what's going to happen at SEMC. And we did hybrid, we did in person and everything that your great planning committee with the 2 program committee chairs as any you put together. It was different, but it was fun. And it's only intimidating to speak to a camera in a room full of people for about 30 seconds, and then you're just in the mode. And it was, I think it solved a lot of questions in my mind about how to pull it off. And I have no doubt that what happens this fall is just going to be just as entertaining and as impactful as it always has been at past SEMCs. It's just going to look a little different. And so if you have any hesitation about presenting, participating, or doing something, whatever format it makes you feel comfortable with, you will feel connected, whatever you decide to do. And I'm looking forward to it. Chattanooga's a great town, and I think everybody's going to get a lot out of the content we've got for this year.
I think one of the nice things too, even so, instead of, usually we have like 8 or 9 sessions running concurrently, and that's just the way it was in a different year. This year we'll have probably 5 sessions running concurrently, but if you choose one and you miss another topic, you can probably get it in the virtual sessions as well. So there will just be more options to participate, and I'm looking forward to it. It's coming together. I think you'll see by the end of this month, it's really coming together. It was kind of a stop and start for a while. I mean, obviously the late fall and early winter was pretty difficult time to be planning anything going forward, but now we're in a different place and committed to it. So we are close to time. Just a few other things for me, and then I'll have Carla do a last trivia question. All of our competitions are open. The exhibition, publication, and technology competition, as well as the student work in museums. This is one of my favorite things that we do in terms of being able to highlight really amazing work that has been done over this last year. The competitions the application process is open now and will be open through the end of June. So if you go to our website, the regular application form is there. We're going to celebrate the competition winners a little bit differently this year. The technology will be a virtual celebration, just acknowledgement, and then it'll give the tech winners the opportunity to actually present what their projects were. We tried this last fall and I thought it worked really well. And then for publications and exhibitions, those will be acknowledged most likely at our awards ceremony. And I mean, everybody will be acknowledged there, but the tech session and the student work of museums will be virtual presentations as well. We just didn't know if it would translate as well with the exhibitions and the publications, but those are open. And then I will also mention that our leadership awards are now open for nominations. So we offer, this is again, people doing really amazing things in our field. This is a way to acknowledge and celebrate. The nomination process is not that difficult. It involves a letter and then 2 letters of support, but we have an Emerging Museum Professional Award, the Leadership Award, which is sort of mid-career, and then the James Short Award, which is a overall, usually related to people who are towards the end of their career, looking back and celebrating everything that they've done. So I encourage you to think about people who may fit those categories and submit nominations. I'm thankful, I'm looking around, many of you are involved on that side as well as competition chairs. And I just appreciate everybody's work. I mean, it really, takes a village right now, and we're all working together to get all of this done, and I very much appreciate it. So we're right at time. So Carla, take us out with our final question.
Final question. What year was SEMC founded? Who knows that?
I know, but I'm not gonna say.
Haven't seen the right answer yet.
You're just putting any numbers in the chat.
I'll give you a hint. It was in the 50s. 14, 15. Wasn't 53, but you're hot. Nat 54, you're cold. Nat 56, you're. Yep, Matt.
Matt Davis, you got it.
That was a pure guess because that was the year my dad was born. So.
All right. Well, I will look through the chat and make sure that we get everybody who got our trivia questions right. Thanks for playing, and I will send you whatever prize I make up to send you. I think everybody has SEMC masks by now, but we still have those, and I'm happy to send them out. And I love if you wear yours, take a selfie, send it to me. I love promoting it. It's just a fun way to, offer. Maybe at some time we'll do t-shirts. I know Katie jumped off, but she was designing one for me at some point. So thank you all for coming. If you ever have any questions, contact me, Carla, Matt, Heather Marie, Michelle, anybody who's spoken today. Really appreciate it. Everybody have a good weekend. See y'all soon.
Bye.
Bye.